mine that I've been meeting at a pranic festival. And today we are basically going to talk about how we can raise our energy, life force energy within, and how it can affect our mind, our body, our consciousness to a complete new level. And so today is going to be another Alkalise to Realize talk show. And so I'm very honored and grateful to have my friend here with me, Anke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Niels. Hello.
Hello. So Anke, what I've heard before, I think it was many years ago, I saw a story on the internet mentioning people being locked into a room in complete darkness. And what they wrote in this article, it sounded like a lot like, they were going psychotics, like becoming psychopaths, they were eating each other. But I think what I've heard from you so far, it sounds something that is quite magical, quite interesting. So can you just shed some light on what is a darkroom retreat?
Yes. Well, I think I'm not sure the story that you heard, but was it people that were locked in there against their will?
Yeah. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, no, because this was pure free will.
Yes.
And first of all, I did my first darkness retreat in 2014 and it was 5 days, and it was a retreat that was initiated by the Tantra school that I was working for in those days. And we were sitting in a bunker in Holland, which was of course completely isolated from sound and from light. And we were sitting there with 30 people in this bunker, all on their mattresses, just with 1 meter in between. And then there were ropes to lead you to the toilet. So you had to, to count the knots in the ropes, and then you were completely in blindness. That was about the only distraction you got in those 5 days, was walking your way to the toilet and back. The whole setup was to find out about your life purpose and to meditate on that. So we got tools to to sit there in meditation with a diary and write down inspiration. So you really had to be very conscious about where you are at your paper, because otherwise you write on what you just written. So it was, there was one aspect of being in the dark, is to be very in the present moment, very conscious about what you're doing. Because when you put your toothbrush in a place and you're not present, then you'll never find it back, So we had earplugs, so we had to really know, on the centimeter, where do I put my stuff, because you don't see it for 5 days and nights. So the purpose of it, to find your life purpose and to meditate, is of course accelerated when you're in the dark, because the brain waves, they slow down. They go into theta waves, which is that heightened state of awareness where your mind goes very, very creative. And where you are, where also past memories from your life come up easily, like you tap into childhood experiences that you forgot, and they just pop up literally, from a very young age. But also that you seem to be able to project more easily into the future, so you can see the bigger picture of who you are and what you're here for, and all that stuff, just because everything slows down, and the working mind and the monkey mind, they just fade after, you know, some initial stirring up. When you're just arrived there, it goes like everything goes crazy in the mind, and the mind fucks come up and everything comes up. But then after some time, everything is settling down, and then you get access to this heightened aware state. So that was a very, very interesting experience. And then 3 years later, so like last year in October, I rented an attic in Belgium, in the middle of a town, together with my boyfriend, and we decided to go there for 9 days and 9 nights.
Wow.
Not talk to each other, so to have no contact, and to do our personal darkness retreat. And that attic was rented out for that purpose. So it was also completely isolated from light and sound. And it was literally a bedroom with 2 beds on each side and a bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went there, and in the weeks before, the process already started, because I got a few like minor panic attacks about, you know, what the fuck am I doing? Am I really crazy? Like 9 days and 9 nights, is that not way too much? I mean, it's like, you know, you, of course, you lose the sense for time and space in a way, but still it's a very long time, you know.
Yeah.
9 days and 9 nights without any distraction.
Wow.
So, and I really, in those days before I left to that retreat, I remember that I was crying the whole time whenever I saw a sunset or a sunrise, or the leaves, autumn leaves, or, you know, I could just, I was just so happy with nature, and I could deeply, deeply appreciate everything, because it was somehow like going into a death. Really, it felt like that. Like,
yes.
Okay, I'm going to check out from participating in life, and, you know, voluntarily just going into the dark. So it was very, very a very useful process also before it even started.
Wow. Yeah, it really sounds like, you know, when you go into these like dark room, and just everything just bubbles up, and there's no distraction, because we're always so distracted, you know, in our daily lives, that we never like get the chance to go within, to seek within what's there. And so it really allows, you know, all, because we're like computers, we're downloading information all the time, and suddenly we go dark, and it allows the body to deal with whatever has to be dealt with, you know, past traumas, emotions, things we haven't been, you know, taken care of on the inside. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, so that exactly was also my goal. I wanted to go there to reprogram my mind and like the cells in my body, because I felt there was still so many beliefs and distractions and addictions and everything, and I really wanted to reprogramming was like the word that took me there.
Yes.
And this time, because I was into, you know, fasting and detox already for 2-3 years, like eating way less, and having a fruitarian diet mainly.
Yeah.
So my goal this time was also to fast in the darkness, because on the former darkness, with the 5 days, we got 1 meal a day served. So then there was one major distraction, because everybody was waiting for the meal to come in, and cooked food made by a very good cook. So, and then like a big bowl. So, you know, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you knew it was time. So you knew a day had passed, and then the food was brought in, and, you know, that was like it was like heaven, but it was still a major distraction, and also
Yes.
the body was having a lot of work to do to process that food. So this time I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go dry fasting for like maybe like 3, 4, 5 days. And
Wow.
I did some dry fasting before, like 36 hours, 54 hours, but never past 72. So I really wanted to do that. And then after 4 or 5 days, I was just flying away in like every aspect, on every level. And
Wow.
then there was a moment that I was like, there came like a fear popping in, like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm here in the middle of the darkness, and thinking I can live without food and liquids. And then at that moment, I went to drink the grape juice that I was
Yeah.
used to for the next 4 or 5 days. I lost a little bit track, but it was like like about 4.5 days of dry. And then my state of mind changed a little bit. It was just more grounded, just a little bit more grounded because of the sugars. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, on the end of the fourth day or something, when I was dry, I was just like in such a deep state of bliss, that, and I was so relaxed that I remember laying on my bed. At one point, I was so relaxed that I caught myself that I wasn't breathing for several minutes. Like there was no impulse of taking the next breath.
Wow.
And it just so, like, I don't know, it never happened before or after, but it was like floating, like the universe was floating in me.
Yes.
Yes, not
Yes.
the other way around. It was like the universe was floating in me. I had my hands on my belly and I could just feel the complete universe in my belly. I was completely liquid. These experiences, I think it's accelerated when you fast and be in the darkness.
Yes. Yes.
There's just nothing left. And also, I remember there was a few things actually, because the pineal gland, it seems to produce more DMT when you are in the dark for several days.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I've
it
heard
just
about that.
starts to fire DMT. Now, I did have some experiences with smoking DMT, or with ayahuasca, but this happened just naturally. And
Yes.
after about 3 days or something, the complete dark turned very light. So I remember that because I was starting to lucid dream, like being totally aware that I was in a dream.
Yeah.
And but also sometimes losing sense of whether I was awake or dreaming.
Oh.
So all these states go very, very liquid. And yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I remember a situation that I had a dream, and I was with a doctor, and the doctor wanted to prescribe me medicine.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I'm not going to accept that medicine from you because I'm in a dream, because I'm actually at the second day of a darkness retreat at the moment. I was like, I could just say that in my dream. And then I woke up, like, these crazy situations.
Wow.
And then it became so light that I could just see everything. And I was talking to my son, who was not there,
Okay.
ordering him to switch the lights off because it was so light in the middle of the dark. So I think that is the DMT that is responsible for that. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
exactly happens. I didn't do any science on it,
No.
but crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it really sounds like, you really become in tune, with consciousness, with the universe, with the whole thing. Because as we go into it, we just let go of it. And
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But even better, it's like, I love traveling around the
yeah,
world. I love it. And
yes,
also I love the sun. I just love to be outside in nature. So one of my concerns was that, living on prana in the sun and in the tropics, and it's easy,
yes.
but there wasn't any fresh air in the room, and I was
Oh,
really concerned, like, how can I live on prana when I don't have air? But the
okay.
system just takes completely care for itself, even if in a not so good ventilated space in the middle of a
Yes,
town
yeah,
with no light, there's still the system just takes care. It becomes just
yes,
completely self-sustainable, and
yes,
that to experience that gives so much power. It just makes you so powerful, you
yes.
know.
Like freedom of the outside world, you just
Yes,
have everything inside within you. You have no
exactly,
outside needs. There's no,
exactly.
and you suddenly go into like, no fear, doubt, worry, and you're just balanced and in peace. And what you're describing about this experience of, you go into the dark room for many days and you create the DMT through the pineal gland. I also felt the same kind of energy when I was on LSD, like dancing to Raven psytrance in the forest, and I became so balanced. And I also felt the same, like, oh, I don't need to eat, I don't need to drink, I'm just so full of good energy.
Mm.
And so it's mind-boggling.
Yes, it was completely,
Yeah,
completely. Yes, yeah, yeah. Oh, there's so much. There's so much to tell, really. Yeah.
yeah,
When I went there, I thought I need some meditation practices, and I have gathered enough tools, in my life about yoga and breath work and meditations and stuff like that. So I felt like if the shit really hits the fan and I'm going so fucking bored, then I can still do those exercises. So I did. I did some. I I made some discipline, some routine, like everyday
yeah,
routine. I really committed myself to doing the breath work, doing some yoga asanas. Uh,
yes,
and because there's so much time, there's you can do it for hours if you want to.
yes,
So, and also I committed myself to sitting up straight, and really tune very much into the body.
yeah,
And there was moments that I'm a body orientated therapist, so I'm always extremely interested in what happens in the body, in emotional stuff, but also in physical stuff. And so I was just so fascinated by that inner journey. I really, it was the best journey ever. I
yes,
mean, all my journeys to Thailand and to Peru, and I love it. But this is just wow. It was just amazing, that there was moments that I could feel my whole endocrine system working
yeah,
together. Like I could just literally see in my body how the different functions of the organs and of the glandular system, how
yeah,
they work together.
yeah,
And that is just fascinating. There is just like you don't need a book or a movie or anything else to just sink in that and just follow that what happens there.
mm,
Yeah. or
exactly.
or do you know about mudras, like those hands, like the yogis, they have these hand positions, and there's a lots of mudras, and they are all standing, they representing something in your body, like
Oh.
For health and
Yeah.
for meditation, everything. There's like, I think, hundreds of mudras, maybe thousands. And I started to spontaneously, I've never learned that whole system of mudras, but I just started to see, literally, like with my third eye, like these hand positions in front of me. And I just started doing them. You know,
Oh.
that kind of stuff, that it was really not me who was doing it. It just happened.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah, following, your intuition, the natural instinct of like, oh, maybe I should do this or do that. We feel called to do things.
yes.
And yeah, the only way to do what you're describing is, going into a dry fast state. You have no distractions from food, water, thoughts, anything. It's just completely with yourself within.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I do work with the yogi. Like, we've been working together for 1 or 2 months. He's helping me with some Reiki healing, and we're doing breath exercises. And so yeah, and he also mentioned this hand position, but I haven't really got my head around what is it? What is it about really? But yeah.
Yes, it's very beautiful. I know it from Kundalini yoga now. I do. I follow Kundalini yoga, which also is a very beautiful practice, because there's a lot of breath work and a lot of mantra singing, and a lot of physical workout. It's quite. It's really tough exercises, and they do
Okay.
lots of mudras, and yeah, it's interesting to feel that when you're sitting in a certain position, and it can be, thumbs to ring fingers, or thumbs to middle fingers, or whatever. There's so many
Yeah.
that, like, some really deeply work on the body, and on the mind. You can just feel it while you do them. So, for example, I was sitting at the dentist and I had a surgery. This is a few years ago. Je moet eerst je Siri. and yeah, I just spontaneously also, took my fingers together to go through the pain, and to be conscious in the pain, and it really works. So I think there's
Okay.
lots of science also to be done there with the
Yeah.
mudras. They are so ancient and they're really powerful. Yeah,
Yeah. I
I don't
really
know so much about it, but
Definitely. I really feel like for me, that's something that I want to dive more into as well for the darkroom retreat, because it's not always easy to, like, stay the light diet, stay on prana, stay on, liquid diet, fruit juice and stuff. So usually it can get easy to indulge, in cooked or processed foods, or, the energy just goes so high. You feel like, oh wow, I need to put this energy somewhere, because, like, and we have always been so used to, like, do it through food to kind of ground ourselves.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
definitely,
well, we
yeah.
say we ground ourselves, but of course, it's the most of it is emotional eating, isn't it? It's my.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm reading that book from Hilton Hotema, Man's Higher Consciousness.
Okay.
It's beautiful, because he just says, like, man is not made for eating food. So
No.
literally every food is just, drugs.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
it's true.
That's
It's
the
true.
kind of experience I have as well. And it just takes, like, depending on what kind of foods we eat, it just takes a toll on the body. It takes, the life force energy away. And
Yeah.
you're describing, like, everything just flows. You have so much energy. You don't even need to breathe, with this diagram retreat. And
Mm.
as I've been progressing, it's been like 7 months now on the liquid diet. I feel it gets so easy and effortless for my body to retain and store oxygen, life force energy. And I can also mention, like yesterday, I was working like 15 hours at work, and it was really like, stressful because we were not enough employees. And so I would just, okay, I'm just gonna go with fresh made orange juice, water, whatever, urine, and I just felt like high on energy through the whole day. Like, and I
Mm.
only had a break of 45 minutes, and the rest of the day I was working, and I was still full of energy like throughout the day. And so 9 hours later, I would go to work again for like 8 hours or something. And here I am right after sitting with you, having this
Yes.
amazing conversation. Like, what the hell? I thought, well, because I thought to
Yes.
myself, if I was going to indulge in popcorns or whatever, because I work in the cinema and the candy store, it would take the energy. And then it was like, okay, but I'm still on it and I feel amazing.
Yeah, the energy is going through the roof, right? Do you
Yeah.
also sleep less? Like because I sleep like 3-4 hours and then I'm just wide awake. I can just you know rock
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. That really depends on what I'm eating. If I stay on the light diet, of course, after a few months since I started, my sleeping it just went lower and lower. I got to the point of like 2 to 4 hours a day, and usually I could be sleeping like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah,
But it seems like whenever I go into eating cooked and processed foods, because that's really like a big data, eating into the body, so it has to deal with it and process it. So, but yeah, I can easily return to those 8-10 hours of sleep if I, depending on what I eat, if I stay light versus something cooked, processed, and
yeah,
heavy in, like, there's so little water content, so the energy doesn't allow the energy even to flow within. So I have been indulging, just a little bit every day in some cooked and processed food one time a day, but it just really takes a toll because I still sleep 8 hours. Like, what the fuck? And I'm even eating a lot less versus than before I did this. So it's quite interesting to
yes,
observe.
yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, going back to the darkness retreat,
Yes.
I wanted to say that if people are interested to do this, I can
Yeah.
highly recommend it, and
Yeah.
especially because one of the effects in my life now is that I had a lot of anxiety
Yeah.
always. And
Okay.
since I started fasting, those anxiety issues came up. But
Oh.
in the darkness, I really taught myself to sit with myself and to
Yeah.
sit with my anxiety
Yeah.
and to tune into where it comes from and where it originates, and to really stay with it and be with it, to do inner child work on it, and etc etc. And I developed a lot more patience since I did that retreat. So
Okay.
if I have to wait somewhere at the airport or whatever is happening, being in a boring place where not much is going on, or sitting here to meditate in my home, or being with people, it's like there's so much more patience. I can sit for hours because I did it there for 9 days and 9 nights. So, and
Yeah.
that also is very liberating. That gives a lot of freedom, that you don't have to do something all the time.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and always have to show and talk and entertain, and when you're together with people, you can just be together in complete silence if that's
Mhm.
what you want to do, and you can just observe each other's energies, and yeah, it
Yeah.
makes life so much lighter and so much more effortless.
Yes. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like before, like I think you said before, like you have been doing 2 to 3 years of detoxification and cleaning and healing your body. Would there be any suggestions from you, before going to a dive room retreat, or should we just like go for it and see what happens and just
Oh, okay, yes. It happens a little. It depends a little bit of where you are, of course.
Yeah.
People that have no fasting experience, I wouldn't recommend to to go into
No.
to into a dry fast. But I would recommend to do a for example, a juice fast or something during the,
Yes.
because it really makes a big difference in everything, literally, in in the sense of awareness of what's happening there. So yes, I would recommend that. And also, I wouldn't recommend for the first time, I wouldn't recommend 9 days, because it is
No.
a long time.
Yeah.
I would recommend 5 days. 5 days is really beautiful, because the first 2 days the body is really unwinding, and the
Yes.
whole working mind, everything comes up,
Yes.
and then you're gonna go to sleep for a lot, because everybody is really tired from life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then when the body is settled down about day 3, then you have 2 more days to go, where you can sink really deep into it, and where
Okay.
stuff can happen. So yes, I would recommend 5 days when you do it for the first time, and only if you are a diehard, then you, of course, you can go more.
Yeah.
But yeah, yes, and for people who are familiar with fasting and don't have so many detox symptoms anymore, because I mean, if you stop drinking coffee from one to the next day, you will be sitting in the dark with lots of headache. I mean, that's not, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You want to be past the rough detox mode. But then, of course, the fasting helps a lot. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I find as well, going into, as you say, going into a juice fast to allow, the energy to flow within, and for the body to deal and clean all the things that we have been accumulating through a whole life. If we haven't been juice fasting or been on a raw fruit diet or just raw diet, and even
Yeah.
dry fasting, because that's just, we have been downloading information and it just stores up and it builds up, and suddenly if we just jump straight into it, it's just
Mm.
gonna like explode, and it's going to be very intense. So yeah, I recommend as well, going into a juice fasting, 15, 20, 30, 50, however long you want, the longer you go, it's better, I guess. And also to really deal with, the emotions, acidity, through dry fasting, through meditating, and just observing the world within, getting accustomed to it before we are like going really crazy with this.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
most
taking little
definitely.
steps. I mean, that works the best also for me, because uh, when I started the my first fast, it was 7 days, and it was really well, it was a lot. 7 days, it was just 7 days on grape juice, and then 2 months later, I did 13 days, and so and then every time I fell off the wagon a little bit more, like I craved foods that I hadn't been eating for a while, because I wasn't interested in it, and then I suddenly started to crave them, and I really had to eat them to to fulfill those desires,
Yes.
and then I
Yes.
could like really let go, of ice cream or stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
last year I had a crush on avocados. I was eating avocados all the time, but now this winter I'm just not interested anymore. I think I saturated that craving. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, just be kind and gentle and compassionate, and
Yes.
and see it as a journey, as a process. Don't go breatharian, like, because you have to. It's mainly about just learning how y- to trust your body in what it needs, when, and how much,
Yes.
and so that your body is really guiding you. And
It
I
does.
yeah, I really believe that once you come to this very clean state, that you also start to realize that we don't need food, because that's a big belief, of course. And once that
Yes.
belief off, then yeah, the body is such a beautiful guide. He will just sooner or later lead you into food freedom.
Yes.
I'm convinced of that. Yes. Yeah.
Definitely. It's what is playing here, is consciousness, and it works amazing. And whatever about it does, we just gotta be grateful for it. Even when if you haven't, or if we haven't, been on a raw diet, been going through all the detox symptoms, or I will call it the healing symptoms,
Yeah.
because it can seem very uncomfortable on many occasions. Like we can experience a headache, we can experience anxiety, we can experience bloodshot eye, we can a lot of things. Like have you had, what kind of detox symptoms have you gone through?
Well, one main is that my head got very constipated, like blocked, like really big stagnation in the head area.
Yeah.
So and it came out in an eye infection, which I have for several months now. And
Oh.
I feel that my lymph isn't moving really really good yet. So there were phases that I was detoxing so much that the toxins didn't have a chance to go anywhere,
Yeah.
and my kidneys weren't filtering and my lymph was quite stagnant. So yeah, I had some rough detox symptoms as well. Yeah. And still going through it. It's still, I mean, there's still,
Yeah.
I'm doing enemas a lot. Like every second day
Okay.
I do an enema.
Yeah.
The I discovered the urine therapy, as you know. Like
Yeah.
my first experience was in the darkness retreat, and I had so much resistance to the urine therapy, but there was also a pull. So I started to, in a homeopathic doses, to just taste it in my mouth, and I treated a
Okay.
little wound on my hand with it, and it was a little injury, and it was gone very quickly. And
Wow.
yeah, and then months later, I saved some jars with aged urine, and then suddenly there was a day that I was just pulled to drinking it, and it was very clean and smelled very fresh and nice because of my clean diet.
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest positive effect of the urine therapy, for how I can call it, is that it totally takes away my cravings.
Wow. That's really
Yeah, I don't
powerful.
know if that is for everyone. Do you also recognize that? Like it just I don't I'm just the days that I'm drinking the urine, I'm just not interested in eating.
That's interesting. I haven't been, doing it much, but and also I feel like it's hard. It's a hard thing. I guess it's has maybe a lot to do with with my emotions when I indulge in foods and stuff.
Mm.
Uh, because in general, I feel like very peaceful, and sometimes I'm like maybe bored or whatever, and I just
Yeah.
like, oh, let me just have this one, let me just enjoy myself.
Mm.
But yeah, I can totally relate with you. Like the most oh yeah, so I once had a swelling in my mouth, and so I tried, with a 2 to 3 months old aged urine to swish it just for 10-20 minutes. And by the day it was over, it was gone. Before that, it had continued expanding in my mouth. But I then
Mm.
swished it in 20 minutes, and after the day was gone, it was gone.
Mm.
And another thing I've experienced, because I can relate to you with doing the enemas, but for me, I really enjoy. I really like things to be very simple, easy, effortless. So for those out there, if we are, eating, foods, solid foods, then we can go on a juice diet for a period of time. And then what I've been experimenting a lot with is drinking between 1 to 1.5 liter of aged urine, because when we are well hydrated and the body recognizes the urine straight away, it goes to the places where it's needed, and it's so full of negative ions, it's full of oxygen. So if the body, it takes what it needs, and the rest goes where it needs to go, so it goes out through your butt. So it gives like a nice flush of the whole gut system from top to bottom. And that is so much connected to our mind, to our moods, how we feel, and especially our cravings, depending on, the kinds of foods we eat, especially because we all have it, we all have parasites in us. And so that's really good as well to just, flush them out. And the peace of mind is just, it's blissful.
Yes, true. It's amazing. And I mean, I know there's a lot of fruit eaters that are very much against it, and they say like, you wouldn't, eat your waste that comes out and stuff like that. But I really tested this also for myself. I was very skeptic in the start, but yes, I do feel there's some magic to urine. There is. It's totally. There's something highly resonating in my body when I drink my own water, and especially because it is such an intimate process of drinking your own liquid and being totally self-sustainable with that, and totally intimate with that, and so many people are like really like, oh, from their own liquids, but it is a medicine. It's a high quality medicine. I am totally convinced.
It's all about it's a creation of what we're putting inside. If we're eating good processed food versus something that comes straight from source, Mother Earth, and the sunlight, and it affects the taste so much. And I had something else. It's funny when you get into like all this kind of thinking rather than just being in the present moment, and you just, I forgot that, but
I'm just gonna look up in my notes if there's anything I want to say about this. No, I think I got about everything. Yeah. Oh, my son is coming in.
Oh, sweet. Hello there.
Oh, my son is hungry.
Then we better start this soon. I think I have one more question for you. So ever since you did your first retreat, darkroom retreat, how has changed your life after that? Have you had some major progress experience with your life, or is this just something that comes, as you go, as you do more of them?
Yes, I think it goes hand in hand, of course, with the fasting, and I did lots of tantra also. So I can't really, looking back, I can't really see what is responsible for what in my process of spiritual growth. But the most important that I got from the darkness retreat is that I'm longing to go for the next one.
Yeah,
because it also, speaking about intimacy, it just brings deep intimacy with yourself.
Yes,
I think that is the big how it changed, because it's just, you go like a bear who goes inside in the winter and doesn't need to eat and only sleeps in the dark. you just go so deep inside, and it is
Yes.
so nourishing and so
Yes.
deeply connecting you to your core of your soul. So that is
Yes.
that is why I would recommend to everyone to do it. If you feel called by it, do it, go for it.
Yeah, it really allows us to play with our energy, especially around other people if we are in that frequency, in that state. Like I was on, I mentioned before, like being on LSD, and I was just
Yeah.
going so deep into myself. I didn't care about the outside world. And suddenly people, they came and they hugged me, and, both, girls and men. And it's like, whoa. And suddenly, I'm not, well, I consider myself being attracted to women, but even during this, like, experience, I was, hugging a guy, and, just feeling and sensing the energy. Like, it's so blissful and powerful. And when you're in that state of just complete immersions with yourself and with the world, with the other person, it's just but
It's
I
just
did.
amazing, because then the separation just fades. I mean, then you
Yeah.
hug someone else, but it feels actually like you hug yourself, because you do. So
Yes.
yes, I totally relate to that. And yeah, I mean, that is what we are longing for, right? To to lose the sense of self, to
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
to become like, one. Yeah.
Yes, becoming one with self, with the
Yes.
universe. Like you say, when we go to the darkroom retreat, we're just one with it. Everything just flows.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Anke.
so much.
It's been I'm very grateful to have you on. It's very inspiring, and I also think very enlightening. Like I've been thinking about going for a darkroom retreat for months, and so I just gotta go for it. Gotta go for it. Is there any specific place or places that you would recommend?
Well, I know that, for example, Jess Moheen, who
Yes,
did that breathtaking
Jasmine.
woman, she organizes those retreats in Thailand, in caves, I think.
Oh,
But
wow.
then you're still together with lots of people, and you feel lots of different energies. And I think there's still some guided meditation stuff. So if you prefer what I did and do, to be alone, you can just, rent that room, for example, in
Yes.
Belgium. And that is decorated for that reason. That it's always,
Oh.
kind of booked out. You really have to book in advance, because yeah, you can go there and be completely by yourself, and then she's just there to the woman who rents it out, to keep an eye on you. And there in
Sure.
the door there's this little box, and then if you want something, to drink or whatever, she just puts it there, and that's it.
Okay.
And there's an alarm that if you need anything, but you won't touch it, you will just be there and have a great inner time.
Wow. Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And
Mm.
yeah, I think, guys, that's it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it very much, and I will see you next time.